Hello again. This is Arthur. Welcome back to my humble kitchen. It's good to see everybody today. We're gonna make pumpkin pie. What is Thanksgiving without pumpkin pie? Today we're gonna make a pumpkin pie. We're back by popular demand based on the success of our apple pie, which I have been eating so much pie. We are such novices at this, my wife and I. So we're not editing anything because we don't know how. And essentially what we do is we make like 20 pies so that we can show the other pie afterwards, the finished product, and then we eat them and give them away and stuff like that. So I'm going to start with the crust this time. I'm going to make the full crust recipe. We're actually going to make 2 pie shells because the pumpkin pie doesn't require a top. So I don't feel like halving my recipe. I don't feel comfortable with that. So we're going to make 2 pie shells, and we're going to bake one and save it for a lemon meringue pie, which Susanna is going to make in a separate video. But I started out with 2 heaping cups of flour. I need 1/4 cup of sugar for my pie crust. I'm going to let that heap a little bit too. I'm putting my dry ingredients together first here. All right, and a bit, and a teaspoon of salt. These are my dry ingredients. Now, one of my daughters, Sarah, went to the CIA, the Culinary Institute, not the other CIA, the good CIA. And she's like all about weights, and she studied baking, of all things, right? My son, Adam, studied savory, and he's a very excellent cook and accomplished chef. But I don't pay any attention to that stuff. I just go by measures. I do it like my mom did it, all right? She is the inspiration behind all this, and these videos are to honor my mom, Vincenza, great mom, and passed on some beautiful recipes, some beautiful values, some beautiful family remembrances, and I'd like to pass them on to everybody else so that you can enjoy at least the food element during the holidays. Cup of shortening, I'm going to duck that in. Very nice. So far, so good. I will say that the apple pie was delicious. Had some great responses from various people. One person said that they never put sugar in their pie crust recipe. And so I received that, and we're not here to say my pie crust is better than your pie crust or anything like that. But really, I think the sugar is the game changer on this. Sugar is adding both the little flavor, so it's almost like a cookie, but it's still flaky, and it adds some color as well. So we got a beautiful golden pie crust. And I'm doing this again just as a review. You can look back on the apple pie recipe and get it the first time, but I love making my crusts, so I'm just going to do it again. Ice water. Ice water keeps the shortening from melting. I'm using my pastry cutter tool to mix the pie dough. I don't want to handle it with my hands very much, as little as possible. And I'm cutting this in and just cleaning it with my finger. I decided last time 1/2 cup of water seems favorable, but I'm actually increasing that. Can go a little bit more. I'd rather it be wet because I can control my the water a little bit with adding flour onto the pastry cloth afterwards. I like the consistency right now, and I really like the taste. Okay, we've achieved pie dough. I'll put this guy aside, get my rolling pin with my pastry cloth, and The sock on the rolling pin, very important element, okay? Grab my flour the pastry cloth. My mom always suggested don't wash the pastry cloth. Like many young people, I didn't accept that. I was like, Mom, this thing is gross. I gotta wash it. She says, no, don't wash it. Just keep it, roll it up, keep it in the fridge. So, no, not acceptable. I washed it. That was a bad idea. Listen to your mother. Listen to Mom, okay? It'll really, and then you'll just have to get a new one, all right? So, rolling out my dough. I would like it to be about 1/4 of an inch to 3/16 of an inch thick. I've got a little hole going on over here, but I'm going to fix that momentarily by taking my pie shell. This is an 8-inch pie. The recipe that we're using is for a 9-inch pie. We'll cover that momentarily, all right? I'm actually going to half the ingredients recipe because it's slated to make 2 pies, and quite frankly, I just can't eat 2 pumpkin pies, especially 9-inch pies. And I'm running out of friends to give them to. Although people are checking in and saying like, I'll take a pie. Can we help? I want a pie. All right, so there's my patch. Roll that in. Get a little bit more size and volume going on. That's nice and round now. I like the shape. I like the color. I like the texture. I think I'm ready. So, pastry cloth magic. Flip that halfway and pick that up halfway in the pan. Give a 1/4 turn and bada boom. So we had a funny experience with pumpkin pie back several Thanksgivings ago. We're at my son's house in Des Moines, Iowa, and the chef, the CIA guy, and he made a beautiful Thanksgiving dinner. Oh, it was just delicious, savory, turkey, all the fixings. It was great. Asked me to make a pumpkin pie, which I graciously did. But being in somebody else's kitchen, grandkids running around all over the place and a lot of distractions, I was distracted. So following dinner, I was anxious to get to the pie because I usually am. I make this stuff because I like it. I hate to sound so, self-absorbed there, but make it because I like it. And anyway, we finally sat down for pie. I was the first one in, took a bite of pie, and immediately I knew that I forgot something. I forgot the sugar. I'll tell you right away. Sugar's a game changer. So I said, whoa, don't eat the pumpkin pie. We actually doctored it up by adding some sugar to the whipped cream. All right, so clean my hands and flute. I have tucked the excess crust underneath inside the pie shell. And I'm fluting it right now with 3 fingers, 2 and 1. Really makes a beautiful pie crust, and it gives you that healthy edge. Again, since this crust is tasty, you're gonna want that. Oh, my oven just came up to temperature, so that's exciting. We're gonna put this into a 425 oven for 15 minutes. All right, so here's my pie crust. Very nice, looks great. Oh, tastes great. Let me just put that aside. Mixing bowl. Now, personally, I like the Libby's brand. That is all natural, no preservatives, 100% pure, etc., but not the pre-mixed one, okay? Not the pre-mixed one. I have halved this recipe. because, as I said, I've already made one pie, and it looks great. We're going to show you that in a few minutes. But I've halved this recipe, and now I'm using the other half. Halved all the ingredients, which was not that complicated at all. And it first calls for you to just add your pumpkin mix to a mixing bowl. I have put aside my dry ingredients. Let's see, sorry, getting ahead of myself. We have to beat 2 eggs. I don't do the one hand, one egg thing. You know, I've tried, it usually doesn't end well. As I said, we're pretty homespun here. I am not a professional chef. I want to make that perfectly clear. I did, however, work in the bakery business as a kid in Rinaldi's Bakery in East Boston. Through the night, baking great Italian bread. Joe Rinaldi was my sister-in-law's brother, came over here from Italy. He's an excellent baker. His brother, Nicky. So I'm adding the eggs. Bada bing. Very nice. I'm going to fold that in. And working a little bit of my dry ingredients, a little bit at a time. Oh boy, the smells are coming up. Yeah. I don't usually make pumpkin pie during the year. I'll make apple periodically, but you know, pumpkin is kind of a Thanksgiving thing, a tradition, and there's no hard feelings about that with anybody, it seems. We like pumpkin pie. A little bit of water in this bowl, so I'm having to scrape some of my dry ingredients out a little wet. Okay, dry ingredients in. So this recipe calls for ground cloves, ground ginger, cinnamon, sugar. Don't forget the sugar. Don't forget the sugar. All right, that's nicely mixed. The last ingredient is carnation evaporated milk. It tells you all. I'm just following the recipe on the Libby's can. One small variation that I like to do is the recipe calls for 12 ounces, a full can, for the half recipe, all right? I'm gonna back that off a little bit. I just feel as though it's a little too watery, too much moisture. I want my pie to be have some body and hold up and thickness. So for one pie, I'm just going to put 2/3 of a can of the carnation. And you can do that by feel a little bit, and you can certainly write something in the comments section like, how can you do that? That's sacrilege. My goodness. All right, this is looking great. I think I'll flip to my whisk because it's thin enough. Yeah. Okay. I'm loving that. Beautiful. This is not complicated. Look at that. We just pour it into our pie. I just discovered I'd like to give my friend Mike Petramali a shout. Has a pizza video floating around out there, I think on YouTube. So, I only just found out. All right, so I haven't seen one yet, but I'm sure it's very good. That's the pie. Now, I'm going to do the base for my lemon meringue pie, since I have pie dough left. And then we're going to do something festive. Looks like I have a lot of dough, so I'll be able to do something fun here. All right, so again, without overworking it with your hands, I want to emphasize that. There we go. I have basically flattened it and shaped it. Add some flour on the top and rolling out the dough. You know, it occurred to me that when I was doing the apple pie video, just kind of a shout out and FYI, Genesis 1 and 2 does not say that the forbidden fruit was an apple. So let me just take that myth off the table for everybody if you've been avoiding apples all these years. Because an apple a day keeps the doctor away. I think it was Milton in Paradise Lost that made that. brought that to bear. I hope that Apple computers know that. It'll be a big revelation for them. Okay, there it is. Once again, flip half over into my pan. These crusts are marginally delicate, so you can play with them a little bit, but don't get, frustrated. They are repairable. Ah, nice. This is a very nice crust. All right. Folding over. And getting ready to flute this. Now, what I'm going to bake this pumpkin pie and the shell here for the lemon meringue pie together. And one of the things that Mom showed me to do was I'm going to line this with tin foil. Otherwise, when it loses moisture, it'll crumble in. So I'm just going to line this with tin foil before it goes in the oven. So a nice fluting. My next and probably last pie video is going to be cherry pie, where we'll do a lattice top. And there's a fun story that goes with that too. Kind of hysterical. It was at the time anyway. So, lemon meringue, probably my favorite, I think. Don't make this nearly enough. Just lightly here, try not to damage your work with the fluting and the shaping. Great, that's ready to go in the oven. My pumpkin pie is almost ready to go in the oven. The last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take the end of my dough, a little more flour. And this is just for holiday fun. And decorate the top of my pumpkin pie, because I think it deserves it. I really do. And what I like to do is I like to just make maple leaves. Actually, kind of more like beech tree leaves. Cut them out by hand. You could get cookie cutters and make maple leaves. You can make whatever shapes you like. But I've kind of fallen for this, and it sort of becomes my family holiday calling card here. Just have a little artistic license with my shapes and designs. So I'm making a bunch of leaves like this, and I'm going to vein it and do something on the edge, very nice, and just lay it beautifully on there. This is a nice touch, personally. My kids disagree, but I think presentation is 60%. There's another one. Look at that. Oh man, when you see this, we're going to do the before and after in just a moment. This is such a nice touch, and it really, speaks of. I'm just going to lay this one across the shell like that. I like to do that. It's sinking, we're sinking, but that's okay. And there, another one. I have one more cut, so I'll use it. Vein, okay. If you want to, you can put a little stem, right, somewhere. This is all up to you. It's all artistic license here. Ta-da. 450 oven, 425 oven, 15 minutes, and then 350 for a half hour. Keep an eye on it, all right? And this is what it's going to look like when it's done. Beautiful color. Oh, smells great. I'm saving this for church tomorrow. Today's Saturday, but I'm not 100% certain that it's going to make it, so pray for me. God bless.